So what's that over there, Andy? Just beyond those craggy bits?
Ah, that, my friend, is Cornwall. And as the wise Mufasa once imparted, you must never go there, Simba.
Aren't we by any chance scheduled to record the next podcast episode in Cornwall?
You just had to ruin my moment, didn't you? My Lion King moment.
Also, for the record, I quite like Cornwall. Proper cream teas.
Of course you do. All right, well, you're driving.
I mean, I kind of have to. You don't have a licence, remember?
Ah, details. To the Wyrd Mobile! So, here we are at Buckfast Abbey. Now this...
Are you sure that's it?
I did think it was a bit small.
I know they did rebuild it by hand, but you don't think it's that?
Oh!
Should we...
Yeah.
I think that's the Abbey.
Yeah. Should we go again?
Yeah, all right.
So, yeah, we survived a proper night out on Dartmoor.
We did, yeah.
Surviving ghost schools, maybe, a witch, as it turns out.
Yeah, it was a bit foggy this morning.
It was quite misty, you know. It was like Vixana sort of summoned that fog. It was actually quite creepy.
I can't say fog without being like Brian Blessed. Fog!
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a fairly peaceful night. I did hear you getting up for a wee though, so that was.
I didn't get up for a wee.
Really?
Nah, I mean I was bursting by about 5, but I figured I'd hold on.
So at one point I wasn't sure whether you got up for a wee or you were like coming out to creep me out, but I heard you outside my tent.
What sort of time?
Somewhere between sort of 1 and half 2, 3.
It's quite interesting because I thought I heard you get up.
Really?
I could hear someone walking around outside the tent. I just assumed it was you.
So, because I was literally
So
waiting.
you didn't get up for a wee either?
No, I was literally waiting for you to come, and I was thinking he's going to try and jump scare me or something in a second.
This is not a bit.
This is not a bit. I swear this isn't a bit. So that wasn't.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, the logical explanation is right. There's sheep and horses in the field.
Yeah, but they make noises, and they've got four legs. You know, you sort of usually they've got quite a distinct sound.
I did also. There was one point when I thought I could hear this weird kind of slightly growly noise, and I thought it must be like the sheep at the ATC snore. So I'm like, that's probably the sheep. And I realised I'd kind of half fallen asleep, and it was me snoring. I was like subconsciously listening to my own snore, which I've never done before. So there you go. I do snore. Didn't know that.
There you go.
People tell me I snore.
It's a time of self-discovery. Well, I mean, after that and creepy noises outside, which turns out is even creepier if it wasn't you.
It definitely wasn't me.
I feel like I'm in need of, you know, sort of a bit of spiritual fortification after that.
More
so.
Some last night.
Yeah, well, you know, we drained it all.
We did. So, yeah, we are at Buckfast Abbey, the place where they make the drink that makes you...
holy ground.
True.
Keep it polite.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's quite an impressive building. So it's tucked away, really quiet, right on the edge of the moor. And this isn't some old ruin either, as you can see. It's a proper living, breathing Benedictine monastery. It goes way, way back, like 1018, started by King Canute himself. Think about that. These monks have been here in one form or another for nearly 1,000 years.
Yeah, I did hear he was a bit of a Canute, that fella.
Well, lazy puns aside, in Canute's defence, he was actually quite respected by the church. He was a massive patron of the church, gave lots of money and gifts to monasteries like this one, and even went on a pilgrimage to Rome. He really did bring a period of solid stability after all those Viking invasions, infighting with the Saxons and everything else.
Yeah, 1,000 years of monks just doing their thing. It's pretty insane, isn't it? Like 1,000 years of monastic life echoing through the very fabric of this place.
And here's the maddest bit, the genuinely weird part of its history. The original abbey got completely smashed up during Henry VIII's time back in 1539.
Bastard.
I know. What's he like? Lands sort of were all sold off, ruins left to rot. For over 300 years, nothing.
Yeah, but it's here now, so something incredible must have happened, right? And that's the part that kind of blew my mind. Get this, in 1882, a small bunch of French Benedictine monks who had been exiled from their own country, they turn up, They buy back the exact site of the old place, and then between 1906 and 1938, they literally rebuilt the entire Abbey church themselves, stone by stone, by their very own hands. That's not just dedication, Andy, that's like an almost impossible feat, a sheer, unyielding spiritual force bringing a place back from oblivion.
And how they keep going is famously through that tonic wine that we sampled last night. It was first made by those French monks in 1897. It's fortified wine, 15% alcohol, but the real kicker, and the other strange thing about this place, is the massive caffeine hit that it's got. Oh yeah, and that's where the legend comes from, isn't it? This medicinal tonic cooked up by quiet monks in a place with such an insane history of spiritual resurrection. It's got this infamous rep, as you mentioned in the last episode.
Especially up in juice.
Who's juice, that's it. Commotion lotion. Yeah, it's got quite the rep, especially up north. It's such a weird contradiction, isn't it? These sort of modern monks upholding centuries of tradition, bringing an abbey back from the dead with their own hands, and then without trying to create something that just takes on this wild, almost out of control life and folklore of its own, really, Buckfast. Yeah, it really makes you think of how some things just, sort of completely escape their origins and take on life of their own.
Yeah, it's a properly strange one, a unique kind of mystery, this abbey and its powerful legacy.
Write that. Write that.
Write that there, all right then, yeah.
Write that. Right then, with that thought lingering, I reckon it's time to leave the quiet contemplation of the abbey behind. I'm going to venture further west into the deep heart of Cornwall itself, where even the wild, untamed landscape carries whispers of tragedy and ancient spirits.
So yeah, Andy, this is where Tolkien filmed the Mines of Moria in The Lord of the Rings.
Wasn't that mostly CGI and sets?
No, it was all filmed here in Cornish, Cornwall.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound right, but I guess just like Fangorn,
It's just up the
I
road.
defer to you on these things.
I'm the expert, mate. Come on, let's go.
This is fair. So we have come down to Carnblaze Caverns, which is why we've got these hard hats on. I
wear this all the time.
I was going to say, around me, we're on holiday, you're around me, it's probably a good idea wearing a hard hat.
Good luck.
Yeah, we've come down to this sort of fascinating, wondrous cavern because you can't really talk about Cornwall without talking about what truly defined the landscape for centuries. The industry that literally shaped its very bones, its mining.
Yeah, you can't escape it here, can you? Everywhere you look, especially around Bodmin and heading west, the landscape is scarred with the ghosts of engine houses and spoil heaps.
Precisely. Cornwall's mining story isn't just part of its history, it is its history. People have been extracting tin here since the Bronze Age, over 4,000 years ago. And it's truly incredible. What gives you a sense of how globally significant this place was even then is that Cornish tin from the Bronze Age has been found in archaeological sites as far as ways as Sweden and the Mediterranean. But it was the 18th and 19th centuries that saw it explode, with steam power making it possible to go even deeper, making Cornwall the world's leading producer of tin and copper. At its peak, almost half of the global supply came from these mines, drawing thousands of men, women and even children into some incredibly perilous work.
Yeah, and dangerous doesn't even begin to cover it. We're talking about men spending 12-hour shifts deep underground in stifling heat, or freezing water, facing collapses, explosions, lung diseases from the dust. It was an absolutely brutal existence. And it's from this brutal reality, from the very depths of these dark, echoing tunnels, that one of Cornwall's most famous and truly weird folklores emerged, the legend of the Knockers.
Ah, the legendary Knockers. My old man said his favourite kind were the Cornish ones.
No, not those ones, Andy. This isn't a carry-on film. I'm talking about the cave dwellers, the spirits of the mines.
Right. The other kind of Cornish Knockers, got it. It's one thing to read about them in a book. It's another entirely to be here, sort of within their very domain.
Yeah, exactly. For centuries across Cornwall and parts of Devon, like where we've been, whenever men delved into the earth for tin or slate or copper, these were the spirits they believed shared their subterranean world. The Knockers, or Bookers, as they are sometimes known, were typically described as small, 2-foot-tall humanoids dressed like miniature miners, sometimes with picks and shovels.
So a bit like tiny, grumpy gnomes then?
Perhaps, but these weren't just folklore for a campfire story.
Or workers for, sort of Ixana the witch.
Yes. Their name comes from the distinct knocking sounds miners would hear deep in the tunnels. Now, these sounds could be caused by anything: shifting rock, water dripping, the creaking of timber supports, but to the superstitious, fearful miner, it was the knockers.
So were they good spirits or bad? Were they benevolent guides or malevolent tricksters?
That's the fascinating part, Andy. Their nature was ambiguous. Sometimes the knocking was believed to be a warning. Miners would hear these taps, realise a section of the mine was unstable, and get out just before a cave-in. In those cases, the knockers were seen as saviours.
And if a miner heard knocking, it might also lead them towards a new, rich lode of ore, a signpost for their fortune. For this reason, miners would often leave offerings for the knockers, typically a small piece of their pasty, the crust, or a little bit of whatever they reaching from their shift. They'd leave it on a ledge or a rock and a tribute to these unseen folk who shared this dangerous workplace with them, a gesture of respect and thanks.
But the knockers weren't always so helpful. Other times, the knocking was thought to be mischievous, leading miners astray down blind tunnels, causing confusion, or even actively causing collapses.
So you'd be listening for the knock on those mine walls, desperate for a sign, but you wouldn't know if it was leading you to safety or into peril. That is what must have been a bit of a psychological nightmare upon everything else happening here.
Truly is. It speaks to the incredible human need to make sense of the unexplainable, especially in such a life and death environment. These spirits were the personification of the unpredictable dangers and fortunes of the mine.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you're a miner, tired, dirty, afraid, deep underground, wouldn't you start to believe? Wouldn't every creak, every drip from the rock, every unexplained tap become a potential sign from these little people of the mines?
Yeah, it certainly would. But the story of the knockers doesn't end here in Cornwall, as the Cornish mining industry eventually declined in the late 19th and 20th centuries, with tin and copper prices falling. Thousands upon thousands of these highly skilled miners, known affectionately as Cousin Jacks, had to seek their fortunes elsewhere.
And they truly became global pioneers, didn't they? They migrated all over the world: Australia, South Africa, Mexico. But a huge number went to the burgeoning mining fields of the American West, taking their expertise, steam engines, culture, pasties, and it seems that maybe, just maybe, the knockers went with them.
Yeah, and there these Cornish knockers evolved into what became famously known as the Tommy knockers.
So the legend itself migrated and adapted. Did they retain the same sort of characteristics?
Yeah, largely. The Tommyknockers of American folklore were still described as small, mischievous, sometimes helpful, sometimes dangerous spirits of the mines, still making those distinctive knocking sounds. The belief was so strong that some Cornish miners supposedly wouldn't even enter a new mine in America unless they were assured the Tommyknockers were already on duty. It just goes to show the profound impact these little people had on their lives, no matter where in the world they were digging.
I like to think that rather than a piece of folklore, these beings somehow followed the miners on their journeys across the globe. You know, let's just hope they don't follow us. Craig, what are you doing?
Is it a bush or a man?
Craig's on holiday. So we are here, Craig, at Glimmers Falls, and it comes from an old Cornish word meaning obstruction. Now, this place is truly something. It's a national nature reserve right on the southern edge of Bodmin Moor, and it's where the River Fayet cuts its way right through this ancient woodland. And when I say ancient, I mean seriously old. This very woodland, Rainswood, is even mentioned in the Doomsday Book. It's a proper Cornish beauty spot, and you can just see a bit of the falls back behind us just there. But don't let the postcard views fool you.
I was going to.
You were going to. I mean, it's
was
easy
gonna.
done.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Easy done. It is beautiful.
Don't tell anyone, but I think this is better than Wisman's Woods. Don't tell Wisman.
Oof, oof.
Or the Prince.
The little folk of Wistman's Wood might have a few words with you. I don't know.
I know, I can't go back there now. I've been banned.
But there are more to these woods than just these pretty waterfalls and trees and rocks.
Yeah, you're right. It's a deep old woodland, very different from the wide open moor, even though it's so close. And from what I've heard, this whole area, these ancient woods, these tumbling falls, they're said to be absolutely alive with the fae folk. We're talking pixies, piskies, you know, the little people. Little people.
The little people.
Don't know why I said it like that. All right. So, yeah, there are... the tales say that they live here, guarding the falls, playing tricks on unwary travellers. People have reported hearing strange rustling noises when there's no wind, giggling voices with no one around, or accounts of feeling completely disorientated and losing time in the woods. They even say that by the light of a full moon, you can glimpse Gulliver, the old man of the woods himself, the very spirit of these woods, ancient and watching.
Whoa. These falls hide a piece of grim history too. This is where King Doniot, one of Cornwall's last kings, met his end. He drowned right here in the River Foye at Gulliver Falls in the year 875. And while some say it was a hunting accident, other darker legends suggest he was killed, perhaps murdered, potentially due to his alleged collaboration with the Vikings while fighting against the Saxons from across the border. Just a little further from here, you can even find King Donat's stone, which is an ancient pair of granite crosses thought to be his sort of memorial, giving this legend a real sort of historical weight and legitimacy.
And then there's the Lady of the Falls, sometimes called the White Lady of Gulliver, a spectral figure often seen or heard crying near the water. Some link her directly to King Doniot's fate. She's not evil, but a sorrowful presence, forever tied to this wild, ancient and tragic spot.
Precisely. And that's what's truly weird here. It isn't just human history. It's the way the ancient land, it just sort of hums with its own phenomena, this vibrance of the fae to the old man of the woods, and even maybe Doniot's lingering spirit. Is this untamed corner of Cornwall. It holds a primal kind of mystery. And as we venture deeper west, the shadows, well, they only deepen as well.
So, Andy, next stop for us is a place, I don't know if you've heard of this, is King Doniot's Stone.
I literally just told you about this.
Yeah, but I don't listen when you talk.
That is fair, that is fair.
Which is weird because I wrote that bit as well.
We were just passing by on our way to another location, and here it is, just to show you how steeped in folklore this place is and these ancient monuments and stones.
Literally minutes away from where we were.
Right there, so you can see those sort of the remains of those two crosses, some of the Celtic sort of knotwork still in there. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And it was here. So Craig, our journey has brought us here to St Clear Well. This nationally important holy well was built in the late 15th or early 16th century. It was probably dedicated to St Claris or possibly St James. The adjacent cross just over there is only one of only 3 examples of this particular type of cross in Cornwall. And it may be older than the well itself, marking a holy spring, which usually indicated an earlier holy site, possibly pre-Christian. The building's design itself is quite unique. It's kind of imitating high status shrines to saints. So the more important saints, they thought, well, you know, it's a lesser known saint. Well, actually. So yeah, it was kind of a way of sort of mimicking those greater shrines of greater saints here in this little sleepy village. And it was sort of a place of healing, afflictions and things like that. And also for those who apparently had escaped danger, maybe a sort of perilous route they'd travelled or a near miss, something like that. They'd come here not only for healing but sort of to give thanks.
Yeah, the cross and the well were part of a larger site no longer visible, which included a stone-lined pool and a paved area on its eastern side. The well building was in ruins by about 1700, but the picturesque remains attracted numerous artists and visitors, including the author Wilkie Collins. The well was restored in 1864 and 65. The restoration was supervised by Liskeard architect Henry Rice and funded by the Rogers family of Penrose, Helston, as a memorial to their great uncle, the Reverend John Jope, who was the vicar at St Clear from 1776 to 1844.
Yeah, and this place isn't just about the water here. It's steeped in centuries of folklore, particularly around healing, with a special reputation for curing eye ailments and curses, apparently, which might come in handy. You never know.
Never know.
People would bring their ill children or themselves sort of seeking cures. They might leave offerings, maybe those little rags, those cluties, maybe coins, who knows. And you still get the odd one tied here now. It's sort of a place where that raw ancient belief, possibly, as I said, of pre-Christian, kind of meets the new and sort of lingers to this day.
So, holy well, more spiritual fortification for you then, eh?
Well, yeah, maybe. This time maybe with a little less caffeine kick in it, but who knows? Haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, these wells were often linked to healing, as we said, sometimes for some pretty unsettling conditions. And when you say cures, that includes desperate attempts to treat madness, right? Like I heard tales of people being plunged into the freezing well water, then dragged to the nearby church for prayer.
Oof.
And not far from here is a truly iconic site of ancient Cornish weirdness, the Hurlers.
Let's get going.
So Andy, these aren't just one or two stones, are they? It's a proper complex of three distinct stone circles, each with numerous standing stones aligned perfectly across the moor.
That's right, and these stones have a very specific sort of kind of chilling origin story, don't they? The most famous tale says that on a Sunday, these local men were playing hurling, which is a traditional Cornish sport. So Jonathan Trelawney, the rector of St Clear, came along and told them to stop, as it was a Sabbath and you just didn't do that sort of thing on the Sabbath. They refused, defiantly said they'd carry on regardless, and so they were turned to stone, along with two people who had been playing music along to them, now known as the Pipers, standing a little distance across the moor, petrified in stone forever.
Yeah, imagine that, like mid-game, mid-cheer, instantly petrified forever. It just goes to show you what kind of deep, unforgiving legends Cornwall holds. So yeah, Andy, these are the famous pipers next to the hurler stones, and I was quite surprised because they're smaller than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, Craig.
Yeah.
These aren't the Pipers.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. I think they're a bit taller.
No, they were just far away.
No, I think, you know, they weren't kids in the story. They weren't little toddler Pipers.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they're over yonder.
That way.
That way.
All right, let's do that again.
Coming from the Hurlers, we mentioned the Pipers a moment ago, those two musicians. These are just here, sort of standing alone off to the side.
These two bad boys.
Supposedly those musicians turned stone here. Around here as well, there was some rich archaeological finds, including a bronze dagger and a gold beaker. But whether there was a bigger complex around here, whether these two had any significance in any rituals, we're never going to know. But I think there is something quite striking and stark just about these two standing off alone by themselves.
You did bring that shovel.
Yeah, you left it mucky though, didn't you?
Mm.
You can go get it. We are now at one of the most legendary and quite melancholic landmarks.
Yeah, Dusmarie Pool. The very name evokes mystery. This is where Excalibur was returned to the Lady of the Lake after King Arthur's final battle, isn't it? It's a place where legend truly merges with the landscape.
Indeed. Sir Bedivere, holding the dying king's sword, cast it into the waters, only for an arm clothed in the purest shimmering samite rose and received it. It's a sort of powerful image of myth and sort of a farewell to legend. But beneath the epic, heroic tale, Dozy Mary also holds a far darker, more desperate legend.
You're talking about Jan Tregeagle, aren't you? The notorious 17th century Cornish lawyer and steward, depending on which story you hear. Truly wicked character who apparently couldn't even rest in his grave once he'd died.
He certainly couldn't. His spirit was so restless, so tormented by the injustices he'd committed in life, that he was condemned to perform impossible tasks to avoid eternal damnation. And his most famous, most futile task is tied directly to this very pool.
Yeah, condemned to empty Dusmarie Pool with a limpet shell. An endless, pointless torment. People say that on stormy nights you can still hear his tormented cries carried on the wind across the moor, echoing his despair.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast, really, isn't it? The single body of water holds both the glory of a lost king and legend, and the endless torment of a damned soul. So, we have gone past sacred stones, ancient burial mounds and tours. We've gone past sacred wells, and we are really sort of pushing into the heart of Cornwall now. And we're on Bodmin Moor. We've been walking alongside one of its most infamous arteries, the A30, which is just over there.
Over yonder.
It is a lifeline for the county. But these long stretches, especially across the moor, are steeped in a different kind of history.
Yeah, this road, particularly here in the West Country, carries a dark memory. It saw the brutal aftermath of the Monmouth Rebellion in 1685.
Exactly. After James Scott, the Duke of Monmouth, failed in his bid to overthrow King James II, the retribution was swift and utterly merciless. This entire region of the West Country became a stage for Judge Geoffrey's notorious Bloody Assizes, a judicial massacre designed not just for justice, but instill terror as well.
Bloody is truly the right word. Jeffreys, often called the hanging judge, or Butcher Jeffreys, rode roughshod through these counties. His trials were a mockery, swift condemnations where mercy was non-existent. Over 300 rebels were hanged, often in their hometowns, and hundreds were more brutally transported as slaves to the West Indies. But the horror wasn't just the deaths, it was the spectacle. They didn't just hang the rebels, they publicly dismembered them, displaying their heads and body parts on poles along major roadsides, just like this stretch of the A30. These gruesome signposts of rebellion stretched for miles, a constant sickening reminder. The very air must have reeked of death.
It's quite a chilling thought, isn't it? This wasn't just a punishment, it was a systematic shattering of a population, forcing them to live under a sort of a pall of terror.
Yeah, which brings us to another chilling legend tied directly to this desolate. Sean Connery's turned up, guys.
Desolate
More. Okay. Which brings us to another chilling legend tied directly to this desolate stretch of road, especially as we traverse Bodmin Moor, the notorious hairy hands. This isn't just folklore, there are countless modern accounts.
This is sort of one of those classic roadside horrors that gives you the shivers. The legend says there are disembodied, often hairy hands that reach out from the darkness, grabbing steering wheels of passing vehicles, cars, motorcycles, even coaches, causing drivers to sort of suddenly lose control. You hear of people unexplainably sort of swerving, crashes, near misses, all attributed to these hairy hands.
It's such a specific, unnerving image. Like, imagine driving along this isolated moorland road at night, fatigue setting in, and suddenly feeling a powerful unseen grip on your wheel. Theories range from the fatigue and optical illusions to psychological effects of the landscape, but for many, it's a very paranormal phenomena.
And of course, we can't talk about Bodmin Moor without mentioning its most famous or infamous resident, the Beast of Bodmin. For decades, this phantom big cat has been haunting the moor, eluding capture and defying explanation.
Sightings are numerous, often vague, but consistently describe a large, dark feline, almost panther-like, preying on livestock. Farmers report mysteriously killed sheep. The local police get calls, but definitive proof? It's always just out of reach. The Ministry of Agriculture even investigated it seriously in the 90s, but officially concluded there was no verifiable evidence of an exotic cat at large.
Yeah, I mean, yet the sightings still persist, don't they?
Yeah.
The beast remains one of the UK's most enduring cryptid mysteries. I've got to say, I don't know where we're going to stay. We've been on the moor for a while. We need to find somewhere to stop for the night. I don't think you can.
Don't think there's anywhere around here, is there?
Oh, hang on. There's a light ahead. Oh, I think that might be a pub.
Should we go and have a look?
Yeah, that looks friendly, I'm sure. Well, here we are,
Here we are.
the Jamaica Inn.
No, she came willingly. I've only made that joke once today, guys, so I've held on to it for this occasion.
On camera.
Yeah, once on camera.
We have been walking a long time. Ugh.
Ooh,
All right there.
Something hairy on my shoulder. Like a hand?
Not me. Not yet. We have been recording loads today. We've been out for a very long time, and we found a place to rest our heads, the Jamaica Inn. We have been fed, we've been watered. Well, there's water in beer, right?
Yes, and rum.
Better make
Not in
some.
the beer.
Not yet. We'll drink some more later just to be sure. But we have arrived at the legendary Jamaica Inn. Built in 1750, standing isolated on Bodmin Moor. It is truly a beacon, a landmark that has witnessed centuries of travellers and their secrets.
Yeah, and it's a place built firmly on the shadows of illicit trade. This wasn't just any old coaching inn, its truly remote location, smack bang in the middle of Bodmin Moor's desolate expanse, made it the perfect notorious hub for ruthless smugglers and wreckers. They'd run their contraband, rich brandies, exotic silks, precious tobacco ashore in hidden coves along the treacherous Cornish coast, and then haul it across miles of unforgiving moorland.
Yeah, and when you talk about sort of ruthless wreckers, band name, they were tales of truly terrifying figures, weren't they? The kind of characters that became legendary sort of warnings, more ghost story than actual history after a while.
Yeah, none more so than Cruel Coppinger. He's not just a legend, he's like something from a dark fairy tale. Picture this: one stormy night in the 18th century, a ship wrecks at Millock on the wild North Cornish coast. And from that wreckage emerges this red-haired giant of a man, reportedly of prodigious strength, speaking some unknown tongue. This was Coppinger.
So he just like appears like this force of nature, like something just conjured out of the mist or storm itself. That's pretty gnarly, pretty unsettling.
Yeah. And he wasn't just some ordinary smuggler, he was a law unto himself. He set up his base near Millock in a place locals still call Cruel Coppinger's House, a fortified, almost windowless refuge built for defence, not comfort. He reportedly took a local girl, Dina Hammett, as his wife, by force or sheer will, depending on the telling.
That adds a whole new layer of menace. He wasn't just a criminal, he was a violent, domineering presence in the community.
Yeah, he was infamous for his sheer brutality. There's even a spot called the Bloody Bridge where he supposedly murdered a customs officer in cold blood. He lured ships to their doom, left no survivors. He was pure menace. But then, just as mysteriously as he arrived, Coppinger vanished without a trace. One day he was there, the next he was gone.
And with a figure like that, a mysterious disappearance always means a ghost story, right?
The legend says he now rides the coastal paths, a spectral horseman, particularly on stormy nights, his spirit forever tied to the violence and chaos he created. He truly embodies the darkest, most savage side of that Cornish wrecking and smuggling past. Yeah, these were dangerous men, Andy, operating in a lawless landscape where life was cheap and fortunes were made or lost with every turn of the tide. The Jamaica Inn was often their safe haven, their stash house, where goods were often hidden beneath these very floors in hidden cellars before being moved inland.
And it's that very history, that very raw atmosphere of clandestine dealings and desperate journeys, and the threat of violence that famously captivated author Daphne du Maurier. It was November 1930 when, at just 23 years old, she and her friend Foy Quilter Couch were on a horse riding expedition and became hopelessly lost in the moor's now sort of infamous thick fog. Their horses led them right here to the inn for shelter, and she was instantly gripped. During her stay, recovering from the ordeal, she devoured local tales of these wreckers and smugglers, felt the sort of oppressive isolation, and even reread Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. And that spark that was sort of kindled there became her iconic 1936 novel Jamaica Inn, her fourth novel, but her very best seller, which she described as a hidden world, a place of tense excitement and claustrophobia, of real peril and thrill. The book didn't just tell a story, it cemented the inn's dark legend, weaving it even deeper into the fabric of Cornwall's weird identity. They even have a museum now dedicated to her.
Yeah, we had a quick look, didn't we, before
We did.
had a bite to eat, but it was closing soon, so we've only had like a flash tour.
It was a lot more sort of immersive and sort of involved than I thought it would be. I thought it would just be a sort of a room of a few little bits and pieces, but they've really gone for it, which is brilliant to see,
Yeah, well worth a visit.
But the inn's allure isn't just literary, it's also one of the UK's most famous paranormal hotspots.
Yeah, the ghost stories here are almost as famous as the smuggling past. It's been featured on shows like Most Haunted, who even called it one of their spookiest episodes. Locals and guests alike speak of spectral coaches with the chilling sound of horses' hooves and the metal rims of carriages crunching on the courtyard gravel, or a coachman's whip echoing in the dead of the night. And then there are the pacing phantom footsteps in the corridors, the sounds of barrels being rolled outside, disembodied laughter from empty rooms, and the truly unsettling, innocent voices of giggles of children on the landing.
Always worse when there's giggles of kids, it's just... Ugh.
Riding round on their trikes.
La 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 la.
Some guests have even reported seeing a Victorian little girl and a boy called Tommy, aged 5 or 6, in places like the museum, the ladies' toilets, and even bedroom 5. That's weird, because I wrote this last week. And
Yeah,
someone mentioned bedroom 5 to us just this evening.
yeah, we just got approached by some people staying here. Like, you're not in bedroom 5, are you?
Oh, we don't go to bedroom 5.
Don't go to bedroom 5. You don't want to go there.
Good, we're not in there.
I'll request a
So,
room change.
So they report the feelings of being watched, unseen hands brushing past. And I mean the past basically refuses to check out, Andy.
Yeah, that's it. It's apparently it's stuck here. It's time loop. I don't know, but there are more specific sort of chilling residents who make their presence known here as well. It's said the inn is famously haunted by the tormented spirit of a smuggler supposedly murdered right here, sort of in the bar, which we've just been through and got our sustenance over a gambling dispute. And his body was just sort of dragged away and found on the moor the very next day. No ceremony about it. Guests have also reported overwhelming feelings of dread in that corner, sudden temperature drops, or seeing shadowy figures. The ghost was first spotted as far back as 1911. And then there's Tom, a spectral figure, possibly a revenue man whose distinctive laugh, whistling, coughing, or even shouting in old Cornish dialect is often heard, usually from the stable bar or the old private lounge. His phantom, along with the murdered man's, is said to walk through walls, leaving an inexplicable, oppressive cold in its wake. Room 4, above the bar, is repeatedly cited as a particular hotspot for unnerving activity, with objects moving and unexplained tapping.
I mean, imagine trying to get a good night's sleep with the weight of that history and those spirits pressing in on you. Good job we don't have to. It's the perfect combination of our journey, though, through Cornwall's dark heart, a place where history, crime, and the supernatural are so intertwined you can barely tell where one ends and the other begins.
Before we wrap up this deep dive into Cornwall's dark heart, there's one more figure we need to talk about. Someone who truly bridges the world of illicit maritime activity with something even more unsettling.
You're not talking about just another smuggler, though, are you? Yes.
Oh no, not just another smuggler. We are heading into the realm of the seafaring rogue and a touch of something far older and more mysterious. Let's talk about Captain John Piers.
Ah, yeah, Captain Piers. So he's from Padstow, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Late 16th century, a proper Cornish pirate operating right here in the Channel. By all accounts, he was pretty ruthless.
Ruthless, yes, but here's where the story takes a truly weird turn. While he was out plundering ships and making his fortune, his mother, Anne Piers, was back home. She was arrested near Bodmin, of all places, caught trying to sell some of her son's stolen silver.
Okay, so a family affair, not uncommon for the time, but where's the weird bit?
Well, the weird bit is that alongside the charge after receiving the stolen goods, Anne Piers was also charged with witchcraft. The specific accusation that she bewitched a mare belonging to a local, John Keverell. While she was eventually cleared of the witchcraft charge, the local belief was rampant that she'd been using dark powers to aid her son's piratical enterprises, to sort of ensure his plunder and perhaps even steer his ships towards those that he was going to rob.
Wow, so a pirate whose success was whispered to be due to his mother's dark arts. That's a phenomenal crossover.
Exactly, and it's that intersection of human desperation, illicit activities, and the very real, very raw belief in unseen forces. And that, Craig, is a perfect segue into our next episode. We're going to explore more places where Cornwall's deep history and its weird beliefs collide.
Stay weird.
Stay weird.